Thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners, a special edition because this is the biggest night of year coming up on Saturday night as far as Queensland harness racing is concerned. We've got a huge 10-race program which features 6 Group 1 features, including the Grand Circuit event, the TAB Blacks Are Fake. What a way to finish the TAB Constellations for 2021. It's been awesome over the past couple of weeks, and I'm sure Saturday night is going to be no different. What a night we've coming up. Joining me again is Darren Clayton. Darren, this is our time to shine on Saturday night. Massive program, highlighted by the Grand Circuit event. And King of Swing, he's chasing back-to-back titles in this feature. And it's his race to lose after he landed the inside gate.
Yeah, it certainly is, Chris. It's, like you mentioned, his race to lose. Gate 1, I don't think he does lose it this week. He was mighty last week. Lost no admirers, probably gained more than he lost. And everything just points to him taking this race for the second time.
Well, we look forward to that form talk coming through later for the TAB Blacks Are Fake. Speaking of this meeting and the TAB, we've got a massive quaddie jackpot coming through. It's a $50,000 start pool, and the projected pool is $250,000. So it is going to be well worth checking out. Races 5, 6, 7 and 8. They're all Group 1 features, those races. So a $50,000 start pool and the projected quaddie pool, $250,000. So we look forward to that coming through on Saturday night. We've got all the form talk for these Group 1 features just around the corner. Welcome back to this special edition of Weekend Winners. Let's get right into the form now for all of these features coming through on Saturday night. As I said, 6 in total. Darren, we start with race 4, which is the Queensland Trotters Cup, and I'm fascinated by this race. Mobile start conditions. We've seen the Trotters over the past couple of weeks under the stand start conditions, but on Saturday night they're lining up behind the Mobile. This race over the journey of 2,138 metres, and it's a very strong lineup. Let's have a look at how you position these horses at the bell, because it's going to be interesting because the major players are all looking to overcome a second line draw.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I guess it really opens it up for Majestic Simon, last year's DJA winner, to get all the favours from Gate 1. So he's a really good mobile horse. We saw he only has the one win from a mobile start. That was here at Albion Park. That was over the mile, and he speared out from Gate 7 on that occasion to find the front, and then Pete McMullen kept them running along just a tick outside the track record on that occasion at the mile. Gate 1, he looks the early leader here and should be leading them up. From there, Pete gets every opportunity to make his main dangers chase him down. I thought Humble Lad, he's been really good. He probably has to get across at some stage. He has shown some gate speed previously when he was trained in New Zealand, so he can probably get across there. With no emergency, that leaves Gold Chain likely to get a perfect sit in behind the leader, as provided she can get away quick enough to get in that position. She does have good mobile form in New Zealand as well, and she's been running pretty good races since she's been over here for Bob Butt. So where that positions all the others, Tough Monarch out the back, outside the second line, he's going to have to be working at some stage. He's been in great form this campaign, wins at his past 2 at Menangle, loves the mobile conditions as well. If he goes forward and is the one to lead up that 3 wide train, which I foresee the pattern to emerge, that gives Pink Galahs the perfect card into the race. I mentioned last week that I was a little bit concerned about Pink Galahs, where she would position in the run, and she might have to do that 3 wide card up solo to lead that train up. She was able to get cover for a little bit, did get exposed when that cover she received didn't take her as far as she probably needed to, but she was brilliant in that race. Once she got worked around them, just great speed, worked to the front and put them away really well. If she gets that card up on the back of Tough Monarch, I think she's going to be mighty hard to beat once again. So our Over and Over, he's an interesting one. He's got an excellent record. 20 starts at the Mobile, 2,138 metres here at Albion Park, been no further back than 4th, and a great deal of those have been wins. So his was a good run last week as well. So he gets on that 3 wide train as well. He can certainly be working into it. But for me, Pink Galahs, I've been really taking what she's done since she's been here. She's looking really good. We saw her at Breakfast with the Stars on Tuesday. She looked in top order. I think she gets that cart into the race. She's the one to beat for mine.
Okay, I think most would be really excited by that possibility. Tough Monarch 3 wide, leading them up into the home straight, and Pink Galahs coming off his back. They're the star performers, there's no doubt about it. So you've outlined that you're with Pink Galage. You think she can take the Queensland Trotters Cup and make a clean sweep of this TAB Constellations Carnival?
Yeah, I really think she can. I was with her last week, even though I thought she would have to do it a little bit tough, and that panned out that way. Probably not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but yeah, really taken with her. She's got that brilliant speed. Tough Monarch can certainly get her into the race if that's how it plays out. That's what I'm mapping it to work out as, and he'll take some beating, Tough Monarch, because he's no slouch, and you know, his earnings are close to $500,000 now, and he's Queensland's best ever QBRED trotter, so we'll claim him as well.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tip Tough Monarch. I've been mightily impressed by the 2 runs back. Track record performance last time out at Menangle. He turned up here on Tuesday. He had a quiet trial against the paces, and he was really impressive. Anthony Butt took the drive in the trial as well. So the fact that he was prepared to come up, drive him in the trial, he takes the drive on Saturday night. And Anthony Butt, his heroics during this TAB Constellations Carnival have been nothing short of sensational. So I think he gets another big Group 1 here. I'm going Tough Monarch to beat Pink Galage. I think they'll fight it out. They're the star performers without a shadow of a doubt. Humble Lad's been really good, and Majestic Simon, he gets his chance to improve here off that inside gate. So similar numbers, Darren and I there, but I'm going 13, 11, 7, 1. Darren's gone 11, 13, 1 and 10. That's the Group 1 Queensland Trotters Cup. We now go to race 5, which is the opening leg of the quaddie. Repeating, there is that huge quaddie pool projected to be in excess of $250,000. And what a race we've got coming up here. Race number 5. This is the Queensland Derby. So make sure you play the quaddie tomorrow night with that big pool projected. The Queensland Derby starts the quaddie. Darren, this is going to be an epic race. The barrier draw is very, very interesting, the way they're going to land here. So I'm fascinated to see how you've got these 3-year-old Colts and Geldings at the bell. So how do you see it with a lap left to run in the Derby?
Yeah, well, it all sets up for American Dealer. He gets the gun advantage here from gate 2. He's been really good in his couple of starts here in the past few weeks. Claimed the Rising Sun Constellation, and then he's taken the main lead in here last week in the Southeast Derby. He gets the advantage from gate 2. Bondi Lockdown, he was probably a little bit below a pass mark, I thought, last week. He gets gate 1, so he's probably better off, in my opinion, taking a trail here on the back of American Dealer. I think that gives him a better chance in this race rather than trying to outstay them out in front. And don't forget, the Derby is 2,680 metres, same as the Blacks Are Fake. A lot of these horses stepping up to that 13 furlong journey for the first time. 2 horses in this race have run over that trip previously. American Dealer, Krug. So, you know, it can be a factor, but it all depends on tempo, whether all these horses can see out that trip. American Dealer, he's got that form on the board. I think from the front, he can dictate it. Krug probably just pushes through, settles in the running line somewhere. We didn't see him last week. Crandall Getty kept him at home, didn't come around in the Southeast Derby. So I doubt he probably wants to work him too hard in the early stages. Definitely they might look to make an early move or through the middle stages, but he can get a nice quiet run and really finish them off. We saw his Redcliffe Derby win. That was brilliant what he was able to do there. This is a level up from that. So, but we know how good he really is. So where they sort of position, we saw Lamandier. He had a solid hit out here with the Breakfast with the Stars on Thursday. So he's ready to go. He probably positions in the 1-1, I thought, somewhere around there. And then we've got the 3-wide line leading him up. Barroom Banter. He might need to do plenty of work here. Can he repeat the heroics of his half-sister Gerarda's Delight last week? Well, probably going to have to do it a little bit tough. Captain Crusader just cannot cop a gate, this guy. He has been absolutely brilliant. And again, served up at a big price. He was a big price last week. He was run second there. Looked like he was just going to go straight past American Dealer, but American Dealer just really dug in there. That was a top run from him. And but he's been thereabouts, Captain Crusader, so need to have him in the figures there at some point. Of the others, Cashed Up, he was really good in the Rising Sun, another that stayed home from the Southeast Derby last week. So gate 6, going to find it a little bit tricky where he actually positions, but We've got Bernie Hewitt taking the drive for his daughter Gemma in the race, so it'll be a good moment if the Cashed Up is able to salute. But as far as they position there, American Dealer certainly gets the advantage. All that said and done, I think Krug's the best horse, and he's the horse that I think can win this race.
So you're selecting Krug to win the Derby?
Yeah, I think what we've seen of him so far, you know, he is the class horse. Take nothing away from American Dealer, and he does get the draw advantage, but Krug, for mine, I think he is the one to beat. American Dealer, like I mentioned, Captain Crusader, he's been really good his last few starts. Again, comes up with a terrible draw, but if the speed's on or there's some tempo, look for him tracking into the race. And number 12, Better Call Me, only has the one win to his name, but his runs have been really good as well.
Okay, I see it very similar. I'm with Krug as well, expecting him to go out with a bang as far as his Queensland campaign is concerned. And importantly, like Darren said, we're over the 26.80. The last time he raced at this sort of distance range, he won the New Zealand Derby. He was used hard off the gate from that wide draw. So I'm going 10, 2, 13 and 1. The reasons you outlined with Captain Crusader, he's Mr. Consistency, but he just can't draw a gate, and Bondi Lockdown gets his chance to be better from that inside gate. So 10, 2, 13, 1 for me. Darren's gone 10, 2, 13 and 12. Better Call Me. Is there a shade of Master Moonlight about him when he won the Derby for Matty Craven a few years ago? He wasn't expected to beat Colt 31. He did. He's probably not expected to beat these Kiwis in Krug and American Dealer. So is there something that we can read into there?
Yeah, well, there's probably a pretty good symmetry through that. Like you mentioned, he came up a couple of years ago and not expected to win, got a perfect trip, and he was too good in that Derby on that occasion and ousted Colt 31 from the prize. So there's certainly every opportunity there, but he's got to really step up here if he's to beat Krug or American Dealer.
It's going to be a rip of the Queensland Derby, proudly sponsored by TAB. TAB also proudly sponsor the Queensland Oaks, which is race number 6 here on Saturday night. And this is wide open for mine. There's no standout filly. Barrier draw, it's made it quite interesting here. Soho Broadway was the big winner on Monday afternoon, no two ways about it. She had the outside of the second row last week in the Southeast Oaks. She lands the ace draw. The fillies going around at the distance of 2,138 metres. So Darren, how do you position these fillies with a lap left to run in the TAB Queensland Oaks?
Yeah, like you mentioned, Chris, it really has opened it up, and there is no standout filly in this race. So Bondi Lockdown, certainly the big winner, 13 last week. It's completely flipped. She gets into gate 1 this time around. Is a good gate speed mare, importantly, and from gate 1 over the 2100, you'd expect them to utilise that advantage with what they have there. So from gate 1, I expect her to be in front. That sets it up perfectly for Sporty Dancer. Last week's winner, she fired off the gate early last week and then was content to take a trail. That proved a winning move. They angled her to the outside last week and she had plenty of space to get out and finished off too good. She's been in great form since she's arrived here in Queensland, joining the Shannon Price stable, and she looks set to get that perfect trip, and it could be a perfect case, as from last week, in behind the leader, finishes too strong. Talent to spare, no luck from the second line. We saw her in the QBRED Triad overcome a wide gate, got put into the race early, was able to find the front. Similar tactics maybe put in here, but I wouldn't see that Mick Stanley would be content to hand up to her. I think he would be content to park her on this situation if they come calling early. That leaves a horse like She's Miss Divine or Moments Like These, perhaps one of the others, to look for that lead up that 3 wide line at some stage. Chrissy Chick's a new horse coming up from New South Wales. I thought she probably gets to the breeze early and then hands up to something else coming around. Island Fire Dance, another horse that's come up from New South Wales. She's been in terrific form since joining the Jason Grimson stable. 4 wins at her last 4 starts, all over the Menangle Mile. The distance may be a little bit of a query, but her form has been super and running really strong times. So I thought they probably duck down to the fence. This is a little bit of a step up to some degree, but I think if they stay in the running line, they just get too far back, whereas ducking down to that fence, the gaps might open up. Could be a better play here. Of some of the others, I think they're going to find it a little bit tough in this race. Moments Like These, she was pretty unlucky in the Southeast Oaks last week, just got buried away from her inside second line gate. So Luke McCarthy, he'll be trying to find a passage clear at some stage here, whether they get forward early or whether they look for that cart into the race. But I certainly think she can be a big improver this week with a different gate. But for mine, sets up for Sporty Dancer to get that perfect trip on Soho Broadway, and I think she's the one to beat. Not a great deal of confidence in this race, purely because there is no standout. I think it is a very open Oaks, and I wouldn't be surprised that any one of sort of the top 5 in the market were able to win this race.
Yeah, I tend to agree. There's no standout. We're probably robbed of interest with the non-arrival of Belmont Diva. She was here in Queensland. She had that little setback. She didn't start last week, and she's obviously not here for the Group 1 Queensland Oaks on Saturday night. So you're tipping Sporty Dancer, leader behind leader scenario?
I think that's the way it plays out, and that's the way I've tipped them to finish.
Okay. I've come up with the same quartet, slightly different order. I'm going 8 to beat 6, 9 and 1. After last Saturday night, I wanted to be on moments like these for the Queensland Oaks, but when you keep looking at that barrier draw after it was conducted on Monday, it just sets up perfectly for Sporty Dancer. If there's just that little concern, how does she get back to the inside? How does she handle the passing lane? Last week, she had ample room to come to the outside. She was comfortable, but I reckon there'd be a little bit of concern about getting back to the inside with Sporty Dancer, but she's the obvious one for me. So 8, 6, 9 and 1. Darren's gone 8, 1, 6 and 9. And Island Under Fire is a really interesting filly in that race. As Darren outlined, she's unbeaten for Jason Grimson, and her efforts at Menangle have been absolutely super. This is a real step up for her. She's got to overcome a second row draw, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any sort of market movement surrounding Island Under Fire, or Island Fire Dance, I should say. So that's going to be a very interesting race, the Group 1 TAB Queensland Oaks. That takes us to our big one. This is the Group 1 TAB Blacks of Fate, the Grand Circuit event. As we know, there is that big quaddie jackpot coming through, a $50,000 start pool, projected pool to reach in excess of $250,000. And this is the big one. This is what we've all been building for over the past couple of weeks. We had the Sunshine Sprint last week, a nose by a nose, copy that, beating King of Swing and Rock and Marty. Darren, I'm interested to see how these horses set up for you with a lap left to run in the Grand Circuit feature. King of Swing obviously out in front and dictating terms.
Yeah, I foresee he's out in front, and not only the king, he'll be the dictator, so gets to the front easily, holds him up. I can't see anything really wanting to press him early, so I think it's an easy lead time for Luke McCarthy. I think of the others, then where they all position, I think they just try and fight it out and get the cheapest run they can. We saw Expensive Ego come around and sit outside them in the Rising Sun. He was fighting to the line in that race. Copy that was able to get past him right on the line in that Rising Sun race. Probably a similar scenario sets up here. I don't think Copy that probably would be too keen on sitting outside King of Swing over 2,600. So that said, if he were able to just get there cheaply and just sit at the wheel of King of Swing and just be content to follow that speed around, he's certainly going to be hard to run past himself. But I see Expensive Ego coming around, getting outside King of Swing at some stage, whether that's earlier rather than later, but he'll certainly be up there at some point, I thought. Yeah, his defeat in the Rising Sun, he wasn't beaten that far, Expensive Ego. That's his first loss here at Albion Park. Importantly, King of Swing, how close he went last week in that Sunshine Sprint. A massive effort, absolutely massive in defeat. Again, that was his first defeat here at Albion Park as well. So copy that. He'll be there, ready to try and take that closing shot, I guess, over Expensive Ego. Maybe he can get past King of Swing. His turn of foot here a couple of weeks back, where he was buried away, that was superb. Can he replicate that at the end of 2,600 is probably a little bit of a query. Turn it up, gets every opportunity with that quiet run in behind King of Swing. So we've seen what he did last week from gate 7, fired out, led them up. Wasn't too far away. That was a pretty good effort from Turn It Up. He gets a nice cosy trip here. Again, looking for that inside run, or if there does open space to the outside when they turn into the stretch, whether he has that zip in his legs now to get past King of Swing, but that's going to be mighty hard. I've got Colt 31 going down to the pegs. This would be a great opportunity because he's following out behind Gerarda's Delight. So if he stays in behind there, he's going to be a long way back in the run. dart down to the pegs, get that cosy trip 3 pegs. That brings him in as a place prospect by all means. So that leaves the 3 wide trail. Bright Energy, he might have to be doing the hard yards out there, leading them up. That could give LL Cool J a nice run on his back. He's been really good, LL Cool J, since he's arrived in Queensland. Chase Gamely behind King of Swing in that run a couple of weeks ago. Really good sectionals. He was wide off the track, so he's certainly an opportunity to run into the money. But of the others, Rock and Marty, we saw him fire home last week. Great sectionals. Gate 6 really has stung his chances. He might be too far back. The Maer, Amazing Dream, another that ends up too far back. King of Swing dictates in front like he's going to. It's going to be mighty hard for horses to make any ground over the closing stages.
Yep, so you've got King of Swing on top. It certainly looks wide away from King of Swing, but if you're playing the exotics, how do you put them in as far as 2nd, 3rd and 4th is concerned?
Yeah, I think Expensive Ego can just control the tempo of the others by sitting outside King of Swing, and I thought from there they'll be hard pressed running past him, so I thought we'll put him in for 2nd, copy that. He gets every chance to repeat that Rising Sun performance where he went past Expensive Ego. Really good place prospect from mine, as is Turn It Up in behind the leader. So 1, 10, 5 and 8 for me.
Yeah, I'm tipping King of Swing obviously as well. He's the horse they have to beat. As good a thing as King of Swing is to probably lead all the way in this race, I think Copy That will definitely run top 3. He is absolutely thriving here in the Sunshine State. His effort last week was very, very good, taking out that Group 1 Sunshine Sprint, so I think he's a top 3 certainty. Turn It Up's going to get every chance, and Colt 31, he had a horrendous trip last week. He's going to get a pretty easy trip this week, and I think he can feature. And the distance for him is really up his alley as well. He's got a great record over the longer staying trip. So 1, 5, 8 and 9 for me, and just repeating, Darren's gone 1, 10, 5 and 8. That is the TAB Grand Circuit Blacks of Fake Queensland Championship. What a race it's going to be. It comes through as race number 7 on the program. Still 2 more Group 1s to look at. We've got the QBRED features to concentrate on now. We've got the Colts and Geldings, plus we've got the Fillies. And Darren, I'm fascinated by this Colts and Geldings race. The barrier draws made it very intriguing, and this is going to be a really strong contest. Let's have a look and see how you see them with a lap left to run in this mild feature. The boys are chasing $100,000, and so are the girls later on. But this is going to be a good contest here.
Yeah, it really has me captivated, this race. The barrier draw certainly has thrown it wide open, and again a case where we probably had 2 main standouts. A couple of weeks ago we probably said Dangerzone was at the top of the tree, Teddy Disco sort of nipping at his heels. We probably flipped that around now. Teddy Disco's the clear top pick and Dangerzone probably 2nd. In terms of rankings of these QBRED performers, Teddy Disco absolutely been crucified here with Gate 7. That's probably really disappointing for Sean Grimsey and their family that he's come up with the gate in this big Group 1 triad. So where he positions has really sort of thrown it open. He probably has to go back, I thought. There's probably too much speed inside him, and I think the speed drawn to his inside wouldn't be content to let him get forward. I think they would be looking at it going, well, he's our danger, we need to stay in front of him. So class to the max, he's probably the big winner from the gate. We saw him lead all the way in one of the APG features earlier in the season. Where he's come up from after that, I'm not entirely sure. We haven't seen a lot of him. So from Gate 1, he looks the obvious leader. My Ultimate Levi, he's again another one. He's hard to line up where he actually is compared to these other 2-year-olds. I think he has to work hard. Future Assured, high gate speed horse. Probably a little bit disappointing on face value last week when he was able to get to the lead in the lead-up race that we saw last week. Where he positions, whether they get forward and try to get to the front, does that leave him susceptible late? I think it probably would. He might be better suited here, just trying to slide across and get a nice run. Dangerzone, like I mentioned, he was looking like he was going to be the top 2-year-old in Queensland early on in his career. Put together 3 really solid wins. Comes up with Gate 8. Not sure whether chasing is his best position. Perhaps leading at this stage of his career is the best spot for him, but the way I've mapped it with the 1 leading, he's going to get every opportunity here from gate 8 in behind the speed, following him up. So I think for me, he's the one that I want to look at from a betting perspective in this race, purely because Teddy Disco, gate 7, it's going to take some effort for him to win this race. He is certainly up to it. He's a very, very nice horse, and he's probably one that I've undersold a little bit along the way through the season thus far, but gate 7 has really made it tough for him. So for me, I'm putting Dangerzone on top. I thought Speak the Truth, he could be possibly one that's a little bit progressive at this stage, and if there's pressure early, he's certainly one that can capitalise off that. So I've gone 8 Dangerzone on top from 1 class to the max, just purely operating off that map scenario. I think the 1 holds 8 on his back. Teddy Disco, would be no surprise for him to win this race in my eyes. He's certainly up to it, just gate 7 has really made it tough, and like I mentioned, I think Speak the Truth, he could just be the progressive one that can sneak into the money.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great contest. I think there's plenty of talent on display here in the Colts and Geldings final, and I think as far as a punting viewpoint is concerned, there's plenty of value as well. I'm going with Teddy Disco. This guy just keeps stepping up to the mark each and every time he gets out. I think he's getting stronger as the season progresses. So I'm sticking with Teddy Disco, aiming for his 2nd Group 1 victory this season. Away we go was a real eye-catcher last week. His sectionals were stunning, and with that draw, it might look a little awkward on paper, but I think he's going to be really strong at the finish. I think he's a great each-way shot in this race. Dangerzone, My Ultimate Levi, he beat the older horses last time out. There was no fluke about it, but I just think that preference for Nathan Dawson, Teddy Disco over My Ultimate Levi is quite significant. And I'm glad you mentioned Speak the Truth. If anyone's looking for a long shot to play tomorrow night, we saw it last week with Gerardo's Delight. I'm not saying that Speak the Truth is going to be at those sort of odds, but he just keeps stepping up. He's the real Smoky for mine. He's going to be a nice horse in time to come, Speak the Truth. So if you want that long shot, certainly entertain him. But 7, 10, 8 and 4, Darren repeating 8, 1, 7 and 6. So that's the Colts and Geldings. That looks really open. It's quite the opposite as far as the Fillies final is concerned. This is our final Group 1 to concentrate on for tomorrow night, and we've got a very short price favourite in Cat King Cole. Yes, she was beaten last week, but she was up against the boys and she was off a freshen up. She's back against her own sex and she comes up with a really good draw. At the bell, how do you see the Fillies?
Yeah, it's interesting you point out she was beaten last week, Chris. She was off a freshen, but importantly in that race, she didn't like the sprint lane. Kylie tried to take her in there. She resented it. She eventually got her down in there and took a while to wind up. When she did wind up, she was taking a lot of ground back off them. So I think that's still a really good run in that scenario of the way the race panned out. They probably didn't want to press her too early, knowing that this week's the big one and then they've got another big Group 1 race coming up for her. So as far as I can see her getting to the front, Cat King Cole. Even if she doesn't get to the front, if Racy Roxy kicks up inside her and decides to park Cat King Cole, I think Cat King Cole is still too good. So I've got her in front. I think she's obviously the class runner. She's won 4 of her 5 starts. She's been really good. Kylie and Darren do a great job with these juvenile horses. This, like I mentioned, is one of her big 2 targets to finish out the season. We've got this one, this QBRED Triad. She'll be looking to complete the Breeders' Classic Triad Double, which we've seen only the very best fillies able to complete, and I think she is able to do that. Like I said, I think she gets to the front. Racy Roxy. Interesting, Grant Dixon, this filly was placed outside draw at her last start. He's taken her to the trials, gone through a couple of trials to get that OD tag taken off her. She does that, comes up with gate 2. So does he press the button early and try to hold out Cat King Cole? Certainly an option. Mystical Charm's an interesting one. She looked relatively talented early in her career. She's just sort of lost her way a little bit. Whether they sort of take a shot here and decide that, you know, gate 1 we're going to take advantage of that and kick up and hold them all wide, that could be an interesting scenario that I could certainly foresee is a possibility. So of the others, with all respect to the others, I think they're all running for 2nd behind Cat King Cole, and I think they could all be running for 3rd behind Racy Roxy. So we haven't really seen a 2-year-old filly sort of step up as yet outside of those others. Roses are Sweet's an interesting runner, probably not helped by the fact that the emergency has drawn inside the second line. If the emergency is not required, that pushes her to inside the second line draw. That could cause her a little bit of grief, but she's certainly, for mine, a horse that's ready to take the step up. Wins at her first 2 starts in the Breeders' Classic Constellation, ahead of the Redcliffe Sales. Go back and watch a replay of the Redcliffe Sales final. She was absolutely luckless in that race. Behind the leader, got carted back, but then made ground again in the straight, only beaten 5.5 metres behind Teddy Disco. We haven't seen her since that run. Big query on that, but she is certainly a horse that, at her best, is going well enough to jump into the money here. So certainly take a look at that. But it's hard to go away from Cat King Cole. She certainly is a filly on the rise.
So who do you have as the place hopes here in this Group 1 fillies feature?
Yeah, I thought Racy Roxy and Roses Are Sweet are the two that sort of fill those minors behind Cat King Cole. Just a little bit of a query on Roses Are Sweet. She'd probably be better served if the emergency does gain a start. She can be away from that inside line and not possibly be buried away, but certainly for her throw in. And 10, Goldie's Delight, another one coming into this race reasonably fresh, but I think she's one that certainly has the breeding to be able to go on with it.
Yeah, well, I think Cat King Cole wins easily, and I think Racy Roxy is a clear second pick, so they pick themselves as far as I'm concerned. If you're playing the trifectas and first fours, 9 Roses Are Sweet and 6 Harley Blue. She's not the most perfectly gated filly, Harley Blue, but there is some ability there, but she'll need that little bit of luck. So 3, 2, 9, 6 for me, and Darren's gone 3, 2, 9 and 10. So that's a look at all of our Group 1 features coming through on Saturday night. It's time now to get the thoughts of a couple of young studs here in Queensland. Brendan Barnes, Nathan Dawson, they're both recent Group 1 winners. They're chasing more Group 1 success tomorrow night. Let's get their thoughts on the big card ahead. Group 1 winning driver Brendan Barnes is about to jump in the hot seat and go through his book of drives for the final night of the TAB Constellations on Saturday night at Albion Park. And he's fresh off that huge victory, the stunning upset in last week's Group 1 Golden Girl. Brendan, appreciate the time and congratulations.
Thanks, Chris.
That was a huge thrill.
Yeah, it was. It was great.
Well, let's talk about Sam Is Perfection. He goes around in a race number 2. He's drawn gate 4. Is this probably a little too hard for him?
Yeah, I think so. He's racing really well, but sort of the draws, he's going to get a fair way back from sort of 4, and yeah, it's probably a little bit tough this week.
It is a deep race, isn't it? There's plenty of talent there.
Yeah, for sure. With the ballots coming out of the Blacks Are Fake, it makes it pretty hard.
Is the distance any sort of concern, 26.80?
No, I don't think so. I think the only run he's had over the trip was where he ran 3rd there, probably 4 starts ago maybe, behind King of Swing, and that was a good run. So yeah, no, not really. Okay,
let's go to race 3. This is the Group 3. JC McMullen, your drive is the Rock and Roll King. How did you analyse that performance last time out?
I was happy enough with him, and sort of we're always told that he was a bit of a front runner, but I sort of, after that run, I just tend to think that he's just a better sit sprinter.
Okay, so from gate 3, you've got probably an obvious leader in Uncle Shank drawn gate 1. Where do you want to be going into that first turn?
Yeah, somewhere sort of as handy as we could be and just save him up for one final run at them.
Yeah, Nick's pick drawn in gate 2. Not a noted gate speed horse, so can you go forward and get in front of him?
I think so. Our fella does have good gate speed, so I think, yeah, we got options there.
Okay, that looks like they're going to be running there with Uncle Shank drawn gate 1.
Yeah, for sure, and it's a good quality field, that too.
All right, well, that's the Rock and Roll King. Let's move across now to race number 6, the Group 1 Queensland Oaks. You've picked up the drive here on Chrissy Sheik for trainer Jason Grimson. Pretty talented filly, this one. It's a good pickup drive.
Yeah, it is a very good pickup drive for sure, and yeah, she's drawn well in there, and yeah, she's a nice horse.
What can you tell us about this filly? Have you heard from Jason Grimson yet? Have you started looking at some of her replays?
I haven't spoken to Jason yet, but I sort of just had a quick look at her form the other day, and she sort of, there a couple of runs, she did like to get forward a little bit, so I just sort of have to probably wait till we hear from then and sort of work out a plan.
Would you agree there's no standout in the Queensland Oaks this year?
No, it's a very even field. Obviously the draws with sort of the 1 and the 8 have sort of probably made it favourable in their hand, but yeah, there's definitely a few fillies that can win that.
Okay, so you're confident you might have the right filly here?
Yeah, fingers crossed.
All right, well, that's Chrissy Sheik. Let's go across to race 7, the Grand Circuit feature, the TAB Blacks Are Fake. Gerarda's Delight. How good was she last week? It was no fluke because her form prior has been really good, but she was just awesome last week.
Yeah, she was super. She didn't have anything sort of gifted to her. She was 4 wide from probably the 600 and sort of 4 and 5 wide from the 400. So yeah, she definitely yeah, didn't have everything go away and was just too good.
When you hit the quarter marker and you're wide there, what were you thinking? Did you think I'm a top 3 spot? Did you think you had any sort of chance at that point?
Yeah, she sort of moved really well from the 400 to the 200. And I definitely thought she was going to run into the money, but I thought probably top of the straight she'd peak on her run, and we'd probably have to sort of settle for second or third. But credit to her, she just kept finding, and yeah, she was too good.
She's run down 2 very good mares, Spellbound, an outstanding short course mare, an amazing dream, $1 million earner. So there was no fluke about it.
No, for sure.
So from gate 2, where do you want to be? Could you slot? Is it possible you could slot in behind King of Swing?
Well, probably not with Turn It Up there. We all know how fast he is off the front line. I don't sort of see why he wouldn't be sort of glued to the back of King of Swing from the second line. But, you know, we'll just we don't have a lot of gate speed ourselves, so we'll just look to sort of try and be as handy as we can without doing too much work and just hope.
Okay. I spoke to Jack during the week. He outlined there was no firm decision on starting in the Blacks of Fake until pretty much the last minute. You were obviously happy to go to the post this week again?
Yeah, we thought, why not? You know, she earned her spot there last week. She couldn't have done anything more last week, and we were talking about it, and we thought, well, amazing dream. She's going to be sort of not out of place in that race, and we've run over her, so why not just sort of, yeah, give her a chance.
Okay, you've got a terrific shot here for further Group 1 glory with Dangerzone when he goes around in the Triad Colts and Geldings final. How do you break down this race? Do you think the one will lead? Where do you think you'll be after 200 metres?
Yeah, we're sort of probably relying on a few other people sort of more than sort of ourselves, but you know, the one that sort of has led and won that feature there a couple of months ago and looked good doing it, so it sort of wouldn't surprise me if we led, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Dangerzone won his first 3 starts. He's been beaten at his past 2. Is he still feeling as good now as what he was back earlier in the season? Yeah,
we're pretty happy with him. He's just taken sort of quite a bit to sort of get sort of race hard after them. Probably that QBRED Classic run, he sort of had a bit of an easy time, and there hasn't been a lot of racing for him, and yeah, so we probably just sort of struggled to get him back up to sort of rock hard fit where he needs to be, and he's sort of feeling like he's just getting there now.
He hasn't had a great deal of luck with barrier draws and luck in running. He's had to do his fair share of work at his past couple of starts too.
Yeah, he has for sure, and sort of the other night that probably was an ideal sort of way to drive him. There was a pretty strong breeze there at Albion, sort of the death seat probably wasn't ideal, but sort of it's how the race sort of looked that we had to try and give ourselves our best chance.
It's a good quality race, this, but is there one that you can put your finger on that you think is the main threat?
Oh, from the draws, it's thrown out a really good race. I think Teddy Disco sort of set himself as probably the benchmark. What he's done so far is just improved every week, and you sort of can't knock him, but sort of Future Assured and Class the Max and My Ultimate Levi, there's sort of quite a number of them that could win.
Okay, well, that's a really good race, that one. And in the last race, you've picked up the drive here on Crazy Shippo. I don't think he's hopeless here. His couple of runs so far have been okay. Hasn't had much luck, but his sectionals are strong.
Yeah, it's a very good race, that one, actually, the last race there. And I think he's sort of drawn a touch awkwardly, but we'll just sort of have to wait and see what sort of Bernie thinks. But yeah, I don't think he'll run a bad race.
Okay, so what's the pick of your drives at this early point?
Oh, it's probably going to have to go with Dangerzone at the moment.
Okay, you'll be happy with another Group 1, surely.
Oh, yeah, we won't knock it back.
That's Dangerzone, race 8, number 8 in the QBRED Triad. Brendan, as always, really appreciate the time again. Congratulations. That first Group 1 victory last week, it was a ripper.
Thanks, Chris.
Group 1 winning driver Nathan Dawson is about to join us. He's in the hot seat and he's chasing more Group 1 glory on Saturday night. We'll get to Teddy Disco in just a moment, but Nathan is with us now. And Nathan, this is going to be a cracking night on Saturday night.
Yeah, it should be a good night. There's plenty of good racing on, and hopefully I can be a part of it.
You've got an excellent chance in the opening race, Crunch Time. You know this guy really well. He comes out of last week's Sunshine Sprint. This is a dramatic class drop, and he's got a front row draw, and it's only a mile. Do you rate him highly?
Yeah, he's a very good chance, and he's got the front line, so he's nice and close. So there's a bit of speed underneath, but I think we've got enough to get across.
Is the main speed on your inside through the Kiwi, Tommy Lincoln?
I think so. He gets out pretty good, and he likes to roll along. So if we can't cross, it might be a bit difficult, but I'm pretty confident we can get across.
Okay. What did you make of the run in the Sunshine Sprint last week?
Yeah, very good. He's probably not quite up to those better horses yet, but he wasn't far behind them, so no, we couldn't be more happier with him.
Okay, an excellent chance there, Crunch Time, race number 1. Let's move across now to race number 5, the Group 1 Queensland Derby. And you're with Delightful Dude here. He comes up with barrier 4. Last week he had that nice inside gate in the Southeast Derby. Did you give him a pass mark?
Yeah, he was all right. He had his chance, but he wasn't quite up to him. So it's going to be tough for this draw, but hopefully we can run into the minors there somewhere.
He wasn't far away, like you said, so it wasn't bad last week, and there was quite a few that made it a clump finishing away, all honours with the winner, but your guy wasn't too far off him in the end.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't far away, but he had the nice trips, so you'd expect something like that. But as I said, it's going to be a bit harder this week.
How does this race play out early? Does Bondi Lockdown lead, American Dealer Gate 2, Barroom Banter on your outside, Gate 5? Are they all likely to go forward in your opinion?
Yeah, I think they'll all go forward. I'm not really sure who's going to lead. It should be a bit quick early, but there'll be a bit of speed on.
Okay, so a rough place hope at best?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. What about in the Queensland Oaks, the following race? Race number 6, She's Miss Divine. You've picked up the drive on this mare. You know her well. You've won on her previously. She's been roughed up at a pass 2 at Albion Park. 1 was in the Rising Sun Constellation last week in the Southeast Oaks. How do you think she's going now compared to, say, a month ago?
The last 2 have probably still been good, but she's been racing a bit better company, so I think she's still up to him. And Graham said this week, she felt back to her best, so hopefully if she's back to her best there somewhere, she should be with another good shot.
Hypothetically, if she had a good front row draw, would your confidence be a lot higher?
Oh, I mean, the draw is not overly worried to me. She's, a tough mare and she makes her own luck, so if we can and we get the option, we'll probably try and put her into the race, but that's not really too much to worry about.
Luck's going to play a big part in this race. It looks really open, the Oaks.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's an open race and a good bunch of fillies. So whoever gets the most luck's probably going to be the winner.
Another highlight on Saturday night as far as the racing is concerned is this 2-year-old Colts and Geldings final, the Triad final, Teddy Disco. He looks like he's getting better and better each time he steps out. He was excellent at Redcliffe, taking that Group 1 feature. Last time out at Albion Park, he was awesome again.
Yeah, he is. I mean, every time he gets out, he gets better and better. So it's quite exciting. Every time you go out there, you don't know how much better he is. So, I'm not too worried about the draw in 7. You keep out of trouble and he's good enough to make his own luck.
In saying that, though, were you just a little disappointed when you saw Gate 7 on Monday night?
Oh, no, not really. I'd prefer Gate 7 than Gate 8. When you're in Gate 8, you got to rely on luck, where he's good enough to make his own luck, and I'm still pretty confident with him.
Okay. What about the early tempo here? Do you think Class to the Max will have the speed to hold up, or do you think there'll be a lot of outside pressure?
I think there'll be a bit of outside pressure, but he's probably got enough to hold up. So, I'm happy just to roll forward and put him up there handy and then let his class do the rest.
You drove My Ultimate Levi last time out. He's right in the mix here, drawn Gate 4. What did you make of him? Is he looming as one of the hardest to beat?
Yeah, I think so. He's probably, one of the ones that are up there, but he relies on a bit of luck because he's more of a speed horse than he is tough. So if he gets the right trips, I wouldn't be surprised to see him flashing home late. I'm
sensing a little bit of confidence here with Teddy Disco, despite that wide draw.
Yeah, there is. I think he's probably one of the better horses I've driven over the time. So, I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. So I'm pretty confident with him.
So he's got another Group 1 inning this season?
I believe so.
All right. Is he the best of your chances on Saturday night?
What was that?
Is he the best of your chances on Saturday night?
Yeah, him in crunch time, I think so.
Okay, so we'll go with Crunch Time Race 1, Teddy Disco in race number 8. Nathan, as always, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside.
No, good to be on, Chris.
Well, this is probably the most important part of Weekend Winners, getting the good oil, what we think are our best bets on the program, and a look at that quaddie as well. I'll go first. I think the best bet comes early in the program. Race 2, number 6, Send It. This guy has been completely luckless during his Queensland campaign. It's not going to be an easy assignment here tomorrow night or on Saturday night with this draw, but he is just bursting to win a race. His sectionals are just absolutely mind-blowing. So I'll go with race 2, number 6, and I think we might get each way odds as far as the quaddie is concerned. I think we can go with the 2 standout Kiwis, American Dealer and Krug. The second leg's a little bit wide of the Oaks, 1, 3, 6, 8 and 9. King of Swing picks himself for mine in the Blacks Are Fake. And then we bring it home with a very interesting race, the Colts and Geldings feature. My numbers 4, 6, 7, 8 and 10. So that's $50 for 100% of the dividend. You can play that to suit your own budget. So my best bet, race 2, number 6, Send It. Don't forget, speaking of the quaddie as well, we've got that huge jackpot pool. It is expected to reach $250,000, $250,000. So we start with that kicker of $50,000 and it should keep building. Remember, if you are gambling tomorrow night, please do so responsibly. But we look forward to this massive program. I'm keen to get the thoughts of Darren Clayton as well. Darren, your time to shine here. What have you come up with as far as the best bet and the dashboard, which we can get each and every week through the Racing Queensland website? This information is so crucial. What have you come up with as far as the big night is concerned on Saturday night?
Yeah, well, I think we can strike even earlier than your best bet, Chris. I think we can come up with race 1, number 4, Crunch Time. Back to the mile conditions, which is ideal for this guy. Loves to roll in front. Might take a little bit of time to get to the front, but once he does, look out for him just keeping them rolling. Has been really super. So for him, he's the best. As far as the quad is concerned, again, the Derby, Krug and American Dealer, I think they're your two main ones. I think we stand out King of Swing, and that allows us to play wide around those two in those other two legs, being the Oaks and the QBRED Colts and Geldings final. So play wide with them. I'm going 210 from 1, 6, 8 and 9. King of Swing standing out in that third leg from 1, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Bit of other information there. If you like a leader, I thought Crunch Time leads up that first race and is too good. Again, leader, I'm not sure whether Uncle Shank can hold on, but he'll certainly be out in front, and Leader Peter will be doing Leader Peter things with him. And Ahoka Chopper, he's the other one that I'm keen on. I think he leads, and he leads all the way in the last. Anthony Butt, a good book of drives for him as well.
That's a great book of drives, Anthony Butt. Just going through them like that. Tommy Lincoln, Tough Monarch, American Dealer, copy that. My Ultimate Levi, that's a great book.
Yeah, it's certainly. That's why he's the best in the business too, because, you know, gets that quality of drive, and to think he's got that quality in only 5 drives on the night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all in front of us tomorrow night. Darren, it's been an absolute blast and a pleasure over the past couple of weeks doing these weekend winners special editions. Can't wait for this action coming through on Saturday night. I know you're looking forward to it, so we'll see you trackside.
Looking forward to it, and yeah, really looking forward to what we get on Saturday night.
The first of 10 starting just after 5 o'clock local time. Make sure you're tuned in. The big one though, the Grand Circuit event is race number 7. That's the TAB Blacks of Fate. We'll see you trackside this Saturday night.